Hello! Welcome into my kitchen. If we have not met before, I'm Erica. I am so excited to have you here today to address one of my favorite topics, which is what is and is not appropriate for meal prep, or as the very silly little video title says, meal prep this, not that. So today I'm going to talk to you about 3 categories of things that I do not think you should meal prep and what you should meal prep instead. So what makes me qualified to talk about this? I am and have been a professional meal prepper. I went to culinary school in 2018 and started my work as a personal chef then, which is basically just a fancy way of saying a professional meal prepper. So I'm very well versed on what does and does not hold up in the fridge, and I want to talk to you about that. If you've hung out with me before, then you know my general attitude about food and cooking is do whatever makes you feel happy, fulfilled, literally full. If a certain food gives you joy to meal prep and eat, then don't let me stop you. That said, there are a few categories of things that I just don't think hold up that well for a variety of reasons. So we'll talk about that and what I think works better, and we are going to cook through some examples today. All right, let's dive right into meal prep this, not that. So our first example of meal prep this, not that, is going to be meal prep slaw, not salad. So I've talked about this before. You absolutely can meal prep a salad. You just can't dress it. You can't put any wet ingredients. You can't put any crunchy ingredients. It's just a little limiting. Instead, what I like to do is make some sort of a slaw. And the reason that I feel this way is because anything cruciferous that you would make a slaw out of, so that would be cabbage, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, kale, these things just all hold up so much better than a classic lettuce when dressed and kept in the fridge. They even get better after a period of time, so I feel like they're just much more suited for meal prep than a salad where you have to keep all the ingredients separate. It's doable, but a slaw is better. So today we are going to make my yogurty lemon dill slaw. It's very simple. It comes together in a flash, especially if you buy store-bought slaw, which I did today. All that happens is a little mixing of yogurt, some lemon juice, of course some dill, and a grated clove of garlic, always for me. I also like to add salt to taste. For me, that's usually 2 to 3 big pinches. All of that gets mixed up with your cabbage, and that's really it. This slaw holds up in the fridge for days. It is delicious. It's a little unexpected because it's so tangy. It's got that garlicky flavor, and it goes really well with the other 2 dishes that we're gonna make today. Before we roll on into our other 2 make this, not that examples, let me just tell you that you can, of course, find the recipes for everything we're making today down in the description box below. I would not leave you hanging. All right, we're rolling right onto another make this, not that suggestion. And here my recommendation is to make grains, not bread. Now, this one isn't quite as clear as salad versus slaw, but basically my suggestion here is that a sandwich or something you might toast or fry up like a grilled cheese is just not going to hold up that well for meal prep. Again, just like the salad, you can do it, but bread is just not going to hold up that well in the fridge once it's out of its original packaging. And my suggestion is to instead focus on cereal grains, things like quinoa, farro, rice, wild rice, amaranth, all of the really fun superfood type grains that you may have heard about in the last 5 years that you can turn into things like grain salad. We'll get to that. But grains just are going to hold up better in a fridge-like environment, or in the fridge, which is where we put them for meal prep. Once you cook up a grain, especially if you're planning to serve it cold, it's just gonna be so much more satisfying than a sandwich type item. It maintains its texture much better, and if you would like to reheat something like plain rice, it just reheats a lot better than something like a grilled cheese. All you need to do to reheat a grain is drop a little bit of water on it, pop it in the microwave or on the stove. It's just a much better option, in my opinion. So today, our example of the grain that we're making instead of a sandwich is a really picnicky quinoa salad. It again comes together pretty much in a snap once your quinoa is made. You could sub out any grain of choice here. I think that this would work great with farro as well, but all this salad consists of is a lot of chopped veggies, the quinoa, and then a little simple dressing and some cheese. The veggies we've got going on here are some Persian cucumbers. You could easily use any cucumber of choice. I just love the Persian guys. We've also got some tomatoes going in that I like to dice up, a lovely bell pepper for both color and flavor. We've also got half of a red onion. I love the bite of a red onion, but if you don't, you can drop the red onion into a little bit of chilled water for 15 to 30 minutes before you drain it and pop it into the salad. That's not a step I typically take because again, I love that bite. We're adding feta to taste here. I had about 4 ounces of feta here. You can add between 2 and 8 ounces depending on how much you like cheese, or omit it altogether. And then we're topping everything off with a 1/4 cup each of olive oil, and I like to use rice vinegar here because it's got a mildly acidic flavor. Red wine vinegar would also be delicious if you have it. Salt to taste. Mix everything together, and then you've got a beautiful picnicky quinoa salad that's gonna hold up in the fridge for a long time, 3 to 4 days at least, and it's going to pair beautifully with the slaw that we just talked about. And on to our next dish and our next topic of discussion. So the last category of item that I want to talk to you about is meat. And in my opinion, we should be meal prepping dark meat, not light meat. Dark versus light meat, I realize, is a big preference thing, and you should cook whatever makes you happy. But in my opinion, dark meat does just hold up much better in the fridge. It has moisture in it inherently more than white meat. It can stand up to reheating and also just maintains its texture better. So this pertains to standard cuts of meat like chicken breasts versus chicken thighs. I prefer the thighs, which we will get to momentarily. But also when you're talking about making something like a meatball, I usually go for something with a little bit more fat content if I am going to meal prep it. All right, let's talk about these very simple barbecued chicken thighs. They do not require a grill. I actually don't have access to a grill. One day, hopefully, but that day is not today. All that this dish requires is a little barbecue sauce mixture, the chicken thighs. I like to use boneless, skinless, just because they're very, very easy to handle. And then a little bit of like extra flavor boosters that I like to add to the barbecue sauce. So we're going to mix together a cup of barbecue sauce, some balsamic vinegar that I think just boosts the flavor, and then some additional salt. Into that goes 2 to 3 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. You can let this marinate for up to overnight. I let mine go about an hour, and then you add it to a foil lined sheet that you spread oil or spray oil onto. And then this is one of my favorite dishes to meal prep because it comes together in 25 to 30 minutes, and it's pretty much 100% hands off. Once you've got the chicken thighs onto the baking dish, all you need to do is get it under the broiler. I like to do 10 to 15 minutes aside, depending on how well done you like your chicken thighs. So just set that timer for 10 to 15 minutes, pop it under the broiler on the top rack of the oven, and then flip and repeat. And that's it. It's done. It's super flavorful. It holds up in the fridge beautifully, and it pairs beautifully with our quinoa and our slaw. All right. We've talked through the recipes. Now I want to have a little chat with you. I want to know, what questions do you have about meal prepping? I am here to help. Do you have any specific dishes that you're unsure if they would hold up well for meal prep? Do you have any questions about meal prepping? I am happy to lend my expertise as I can. Please drop comments below. If you like the format of this video and would like to see more this versus that type videos, let me know in comments below. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe, all that good stuff, and thank you so much for coming along with me. I hope you have a lovely, well-fed week ahead.